I first heard about Azumanga Daioh and its existence, it perplexed me at first, because to me it felt like something I would see in one of my fever dreams after a long day of traveling home from summer vacation when I was around 3 years old. And while not a bad fever dream, far from it actually being more pleasant than anything else, my first exposure of this anime came from the clip of Osaka saying, "Oh my god!" So obviously my first impressions were a bit skewed at first. But a couple weeks later, I got around to watching it, and well, what else can I say other than it is one of my all-time favorite pieces of media I have ever watched. Like, I genuinely feel like I have always known this anime for my whole life, despite only discovering it 2 months ago. And I think that is partially due to the time this anime came out, premiering on April 8th, 2002, a month before I was born. The whole aesthetic and vibe of this anime screams the early 2000s, and has reinvigorated a sense of childhood wonder I had not felt in years. This is my review of Azumanga Daioh. Azumanga Daioh did not start off as an anime, but was adapted from a manga by the same name, being a Japanese comedy manga series written and illustrated by Kiyohiko Azuma. It was serialized from February 1999 to May 2002 in the monthly magazine Dengeki Daioh by MediaWorks, and was eventually adapted to animation by JC Staff, airing in Japan between April and September 2002, consisting of 26 24-minute episodes. The premise of the manga and anime depicts the daily life of 6 high school girls and their 2 teachers going on adventures together, and with no real main character, this premise allows every character to really shine and play off each other. Okay, that's enough of the origin of this anime. Now time for me to talk about what I love about it. Azumanga Daioh's art style is calming, hence why the show feels so nostalgic to me. The first scene I ever saw of Azumanga Daioh was the "Oh my god" clip from Osaka, a scene which is aesthetically unremarkable, and yet it feels familiar somehow. This is why I first said this anime felt similar to something more of a pleasant fever dream, one of which was incoherent and you just enjoyed for the colors and or sounds. Given this anime came out in the early 2000s, it is very understandable that I would feel nostalgic for this type of art style, as this is just how the media looked back then. But how exactly could one describe the appearance of this type of art style used in various media? I guess to start off, the colors are often brighter and more pale, some of the most common used being pale blues, pale yellows, and pale greens. This helps the more beautiful scenes when something more meaningful and impactful is going on stand out more, such as when the girls are playing jump rope at the end of episode 12, or most of episode 19 with the beautiful bright pinks and blues of the cherry blossoms. Even though nothing special is happening in these scenes, this highlights just how beautiful the scenery can be when you're paying more attention to it, like when autumn leaves are falling. And the sound design and music complements this art style very well, having simplistic little chimes pop in when the characters do an action, like when Osaka puts her head in the flower during the sports festival. And talking about the music, my god, they did not have to go so hard with this soundtrack. And yet they did, and it's hard to describe what makes it so beautiful and nostalgic at the same time. But one of the examples I can use is this song Shingaki, I think it's called, where towards the end of this beautiful song, the piano riff reminds me of something I would hear straight out of a Gen 5 Pokemon game, in particular Pokemon Black, a game I played a bit when I was younger and revisited throughout 2014 to 2015, and then again more recently. All in all, the soft colors, the amazing use of color to communicate the overall vibe of the scene going on, and the beautiful lighting, the sentimental and emotional music, or just overall the entire aesthetic of Azumanga Daioh, contrasts other slice-of-life animes that have more abrasive and saturated colors, at least from a surface level of what I've seen. Not to discredit them, but the character designs in these other slice-of-life animes often feel a bit too exaggerated, making the characters blush too much or make faces so exaggerated it often comes off as unnatural, over the top, unrelatable, to me at least, and just less engaging to me in general. But hey, that's just my opinion after all. And this could be the reason why Donkey, a man who has exclaimed that he isn't into anime and yet says he likes Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli's works, because those movies don't go too over the top with facial expressions, and the overall art style and aesthetic is more calming and humble, with sprinkles of beautiful moments here and there to contrast the mundane. Before I move on to my next point, I'm going to take two scenes, one from Azumanga and one from Kinero Mosaic, compare them, and briefly talk about what Azumanga does better, at least in my opinion, compared to Kinero Mosaic.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Fine, thank you.
Oh my god!
I wish I were a bird.
この問題よ。小道さん。はい。ごめんなさい、わからないです。
Now this isn't really fair, I know, but there are a lot of differences here in play. For one, the character designs for each are vastly different yet similar in some regard, being cute anime girls. But while it appears that Kinero Mosaic fixates on the fact that the girls are cute, giving the one saying,
Oh my god!
a blushy, embarrassed look, Azumanga prefers to have the characters act out in a more natural way. Even the way they say,
Oh my god!
is very different, one feeling forced while the other feels more natural. But really, it all comes down to preference, and I won't discredit you if you enjoy animes like Kinero Mosaic, because this is just my opinion after all. And I don't mean to discredit any artists behind this, as these are just my opinions. I just think Azumanga does a better job at easing the viewer into a wacky scenario with its overall art style and aesthetic. I spent way too much time praising the art style now, so now it's time to get into the main meat, bread and butter of what makes Azumanga so special, the characters and the moments themselves. Where do I even begin when discussing Azumanga Daioh's cast of characters and weird, funny, or sentimental moments? I guess I could start with Chiyo, who starts off as a 10-year-old child prodigy transferred to high school because she's a genius, as well as rich apparently, making the other girls like Tomo and Yami a bit jealous. But by no means is Chiyo a rich a-hole. Quite contrary, actually. Chiyo is this kind, sweet-hearted person who cares deeply about her friendships, and throughout the series, she brings everyone together in such a way that they become lifelong friends. Some of the most iconic moments of the show revolve around Chiyo, one of which being when she's singing about cooking in episode 1, where even Game Grumps in one of their early Let's Plays talked about how much they loved Azumanga Daioh.
Dude, I fucking love Azumanga Daioh. It's my favorite anime. I love it.
Most of the moments with Chiyo play very well off with whatever the other characters are doing, because that's just who she is. She's friends with every one of the girls in their friend group. My favorite moment with Chiyo, though, was when she dressed up as a penguin in episode 15, and her and Osaka hanging out at the culture festival. Seeing Osaka, who before was scared of hurting Chiyo, feed Chiyo so innocently, made me feel a kind of happiness I have never felt before. The kind that transcends just something ordinarily cute, but rather something so dominantly wholesome that it shook me to my core a bit in what I want out of a friendship.
What do you mean by that?
Next to discuss is one of the teachers, Miss Yukari, who is very competitive, seems to be impatient, insecure, and has a bit of a temper. But don't let this distract you though from the fact that she saw how sad Chiyo and Osaka were when thinking that they were not going to be in the same class for year 2, and somehow arranging it to be so, and seeing her happy to see them happy truly revealed that Yukari, although impulsive and a bit abrasive, cares for her students well. Post-edit, no. Well-being when she isn't so hyper-focused on beating her friend/rival. Yukari is also, I think, the only character in the series who spoke English, or English as they call it, in episode 22, which is actually the highest rated episode for more reasons than just that alone. I think deep down, Yukari is just a teacher who wants validation from her students and tries really hard to get her students to like her, often a bit too hard for her own good. Unless it's the sports festival where While Nayamo would offer the girls in her class juice regardless on whether they lose or not, Yukari says that they will only get juice if they win, and throws tantrums when the girls lose the competition. And the show touches briefly on the fact that maybe Yukari and Nayamo had an experience in college that was, to put it lightly, embarrassing. All in all though, Yukari seems to view herself on equal level to her students, and one of my favorite moments from Yukari is when she literally murders Tomo after Tomo accidentally hits her with a tray in episode 18. Like, that scene was so funny. You gotta admit. I guess I can also talk briefly about Nayamo here, the gym teacher like I mentioned, who is a lot more kind to the girls on the surface level than Yukari is. If Yukari serves to have the more insane and wacky moments, then Nayamo is sort of the wholesome contrast to that, where you see her being very nice to all the students in various scenes. Nayamo, however, does the unforgivable in episode 14, where she seems to kill the girl's innocence while drunk. To summarize, she's more simple than Yukari, but the way she plays off Yukari in their little rivalry scenes are just fun to watch, and Nayamo is just too sweet and kind to her students for me to detract points from her. But yeah, I'm still gonna detract points for her killing the girl's innocence, like what the fuck, man. Yomi and Tomo, what can I even say about these two? I guess they are sort of like the child versions of Yukari and Nayamo, having a friendly rivalry where they both pick on each other for seemingly small and stupid reasons. Tomo is energetic, athletic, and also the jock. I don't know why I put dumb in the script. What the fuck's wrong with me? I mean, she is kind of dumb, but like, I don't know. Tomo is the athletic, energetic, and also the jock character. You know what? I'm just gonna. Tomo is the jock character archetype where... God damn it. You know what, just cut all that stuff out at the end. Tomo is the jock character archetype, and while at first you'd assume she's a bully, she's far from it, and I'd say she's just confused, a bit annoying, but come on, she is pretty much the life and energy of this show. Without Tomo, there would be no drama, no stakes, and none of the action would have happened. And Tomo has some of the funniest scenes in this anime. Like when she throws the key for literally no reason, but to mess with the other girls and create an adventure. And Yami plays off this perfectly too. And the way Yami always seems so angry at Tomo is such a nice character dynamic. You can tell that they don't hate each other, but like any friendship, there will be discourse. And Yami on the other hand seems to be calmer, but a lot more judgmental. Hence the reason why Tomo seems to want her approval all the time, because Yami seems to be the type of character who wants to hide more things she deems embarrassing or childish from her other classmates, and put on a facade to make her appear more mature or level-headed than the other students, ultimately paying the sacrifice for it. Like, she needs to set aside her pride and ego. What is she, Walter White?
I've had a good chuckle over that one. I'm coming after you.
And Tomo often dreams and daydreams about her being better than everyone else in the classroom. So when you have two narcissists, one being calmer and the other being the literal definition of a sugar rush, you have a character dynamic that brings so much more life into an otherwise already great show. Kagura and Sakaki, the wholesome rivals as I'd call it. Compared to Tomo and Yami, the funny rivals, Kagura is the new character we are introduced in episode 10, the second year of the girls' adventures. Sakaki is a character who was there from the start, seeming to be the quietest girl in the class, and a bit intimidating with her height. However, despite Sakaki's presence, deep down, she loves cute things, and we see this in the first episode when she tries to pet a stray cat on her way to class, where it bites her, and this is an ongoing joke throughout the series. All 26 episodes. However, Sakaki is too embarrassed to admit she likes cute things when she realizes people have started viewing her as sort of a badass after the sports festival where she outran everyone. Kagura views Sakaki as a rival, while Sakaki is more focused on her affection for animals, in particular cats, and Kagura shows visible confusion seeing someone so seemingly indomitable as Sakaki gush over a kitten so much. This conflict between the two only lasts a bit though, where Kagura's intentions are merely to protect her new friend from a threat that Sakaki keeps walking into, the angry stray cat on the street. But Sakaki wants the cats to love her and has constant daydreams of her bonding with these cats. Okay guys, in the script I put Kagura is basically Tomo, but a tomboy, but I think that'd be a disservice after rewatching it again. I think I realized that Kagura is like a lot better, and I'm going to be improvising a little with the script, so, yeah. Kagura is basically Tomo, but yeah, no, she's not. She likes girly Wait, no, Tomo likes girly what the fuck? I have to rewrite the script, hang on, guys. Okay, I think I got a little better idea of who Kagura is, so I'm going to read off my new script, and please don't kill me, all Kagura fans. Kagura is similar to Tomo, but a much nicer, enthusiastic, and overall more wholesome version of her. While Tomo likes girly things, which we can see from her daydreams, Kagura seems to fit more in line with the tomboy character archetype, being athletic as well. Kagura is basically just the one super nice and enthusiastic friend that just wants to be involved with everything. Getting Buddy the elf vibes over here. But Kagura also has quieter moments, like when Chiyo was walking out late at night in the dark during episode 19, Kagura was there to help Chiyo out, and they have a nice moment together talking about stuff like their future goals, what it was like for them growing up, and just other stuff. I have to say, these two characters are just so wholesome in their own unique ways. Sakaki just wants to love cats and other animals and is too shy to admit it until the end, where once again our Lord and Savior Chiyo helps Sakaki out with this in episode 24 with her new cat Maya, who is just so adorable. It melts my heart. The mix of Kagura's unrivaled enthusiasm and kindness towards her friends, and Sakaki's more introverted and gentle nature, makes these two characters some of the best in the series, and without them, the show just wouldn't feel the same. Some quickies before the inevitable. Mr. Kimura, the funny, wacky, creepy, Mr. Crocker-looking ass teacher who everyone hates, but I see him more as a misunderstood person who might just be expressing his affection in the wrong way. Still, though, his scenes are very funny in a vacuum, and, yeah. Kaorin, wow. The cute one? Kaorin is the archetype of the other typical slice-of-life animes, the overly cute girl who blushes way too much for her own good, and is extremely gay. Even still, Azumanga does it right by making her more relatable, essentially nailing the feeling of when you are around your crush. It's just so wholesome. And the father, literally every scene with this cat is the best scene in the anime. This is literally my friend Kate. What the fuck? Osaka. Okay, I don't even know where to begin, but she's kind of the best character in the show. I don't even know how to describe Osaka, but on a surface level, she's very cute. But they didn't just stop there. No, they made her based. Guys. I mean, like, come on, look at these memes. They made Osaka literally the most human yet inhuman character in the show. Such a juxtaposition, sometimes she's a genius, and most of the time, she's an airhead who says silly things and does silly haha goofy thing. Haha, so silly. I don't get it. No one really does, but in the end, her unpredictable nature makes her one of the most fun characters to watch in the show. In fact, she is the most fun character to watch in the show. There are entire compilations of Osaka on YouTube. Just look it up. I'm not even joking. I guess I could start off with how she changes throughout the series. She starts off seemingly fairly normal, being an Osakan, basically from the city of Osaka. Hey, wait a minute. That's also her name. What gives? Actually, Osaka's original name was Ayumu Kazuga? I don't even know. Until Tomo said, nope, nuh-uh. Episode 2 is where Osaka becomes the main character. What do I mean? This episode has many iconic moments just from Osaka herself, like the eye dust scene or the chopstick scene, the entire Hiccup saga. If Chiyo is the character who deliberately brings all the girls together, then Osaka basically seals that connection. What I'm seeing is that Osaka is so interesting, goofy, silly, and just plain delightful to hang out with that she sort of serves as the perfect combo with Chiyo. It's no wonder all the girls get along so well. Without Chiyo to bring them all together and Osaka to keep them interesting, the show would essentially fall apart, and all these character types would just be in a vacuum, and it wouldn't work. Might I also mention that whenever Osaka talks, whatever she has to say is usually interesting. She often talks about stuff that boggles her mind, like whether pandas wear white on black or black on white, or when she brings up the idea of the Scary Cute Culture Festival theme with the dead animals, when she gives Chiyo the idea to spread her arms out when running, when she talks about gun violence in America, when she talks about Sakaki, when she talks to Sakaki about literal hemorrhoids. And don't even get me started on the trivia scene where she effortlessly answers all the questions, even surprising Chiyo in the process. And that smile too, she has a certain look to her that just makes her not just cute, but innocent. And kind of mysterious. And also creepy sometimes. It isn't the type of cute that you'd see in a tiny puppy, but rather the cute you'd see in a tiny fruit, or any inanimate object of that matter. Or the type of cute you'd find in just seeing two friends hanging out and being so nice to each other. It's the wholesome kind of cute, is what I'm trying to say. But she could also be creepy, mysterious, and some theorize that she could be an alien. Some say Osaka isn't even real.
You're gonna die. Oh, no, no, no,
Every single scene with Osaka is iconic. Everything Osaka does is either funny, wholesome, relatable, unpredictable, or just encompasses everything this show represents. Fun, childhood, innocent. Osaka is probably the realest character of the bunch, sometimes saying witty stuff that the viewer can go, yeah, I was thinking that also. Just calling her dumb is an insult because she's not dumb at all. She just has a very different way of thinking, and a lot of her best moments are with Chiyo. And whether they are talking about the difference between an elevator or an escalator, or tossing the volleyball to one another, or just hanging out in general, one thing remains. And that is, this is what friendship is. These two bring life into the friend group they've developed over the years. And Osaka's daydreams are on a whole nother level of absurds that I can't even get into it. So let's just wrap this up. Azumanga Daioh is truly remarkable to me. It's a show that shouldn't be anything that remarkable or special, and yet it still has one of the most loyal and devoted fan base of all time. This series conveys a theme of childhood wonder and innocence, found in the mundane everyday life at similar levels of something that of a Studio Ghibli film. And seeing the main cast of characters grow up together, while also keeping their friendship strong, has truly touched me in such a way that will forever cement this series as one of my favorites of all time. Thank you, Kiyohiko Azuma, and everyone who worked on Azumanga Daioh. You have truly made something special that will capture and stay in the hearts of many for years to come. Thank you.
Sakaki